Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Talk Japan. On this show, we talk about all things Japan in English. My name is Mitch. This is my co-host,
Alex.
Today we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about victims of Japanese porn.
Sounds good.
That's what we're starting off with. No, we're actually going to talk about this silly bill that they're trying to push through the diet. Why is it called a diet, not a parliament?
Because they need to lose
weight.
Well,
you know, technically, if you ever watch the Japanese version of C-SPAN, you see all the old men in the room.
Yeah.
You could lose some of that weight for sure.
Yeah, they're all asleep, man.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about lots of stuff. We're going to talk about how cheating on a university exam might land you in jail. We're going to talk about the morning after pill. We're going to talk about how Japan is eyeing, one of those great verbs, eyeing joining NATO. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about a dentist office where everybody dresses up like a French maid.
Oh, have you been there?
No, roll that intro. Have you ever actually been to a maid cafe before?
Yeah, once, actually.
How was it? I've actually never been.
Kind of just weird. I just went with a friend who was like visiting Japan.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to go.
And experience everything.
So I went there and I was just like, why am I here? You know, I didn't really get it.
So you actually from England, you've been to France. Do they have maid cafes in France?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Not
No.
as far as I'm aware.
No, they have cafes in France, but I don't think they have any maids working at them.
That costume, like, is I think it's like Victorian European maid. Did that actually ever happen?
No, not really. I don't think
right?
so. Yeah, it's like a maid at a stately home or something like that. That's the idea, I think. Trying to copy that, but in France they're just unfriendly. You know,
just generally unfriendly,
especially to British people.
So there's all these like historical things that we don't get right. For example, like the Roman Empire, whenever you see like historical films, you see all like the Roman statues and they're all bleached white. Mm-hmm. That's not how they looked before. They were colorful.
No, they were colored in, right?
Yeah, they were all painted up and colorful.
Yeah.
It blows people's minds. They're like, no way. Yeah, the whole fucking city was all colorful as shit. It's all bleached white over time.
Yeah, but they look fucking dumb, all colored in. They
right?
look really bad.
Now, to us now, they look stupid, right?
Yeah, they look dumb, man.
Also, the idea of the cowboy.
Yeah.
Complete fiction. Mm-hmm. You know where the idea, the image of the cowboy came from? The Marlboro Man.
Is it really?
Yeah. Same thing with St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was basically created by the Coca-Cola company and like a poem that was published, I think, in the New York Times in like the 1940s or something.
No, it's like an ad campaign or something, wasn't it, originally?
It's just all bullshit. It's not historical at all.
Well, samurai's the same as well, really.
Yeah, I thought ninjas I knew were kind of exaggerated.
Well, ninjas kind of made up, really, basically.
Yeah, but samurais were...
Bushido is made up, basically.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a guy...
There's a samurai academy in Japan, damn it.
There's a guy called Nitobe who in the 1920s or something like that wrote a book called Bushido.
Yeah.
And he was a Western scholar. He was a scholar of Western things, not Japanese history.
Okay. So he's qualified to write this book.
Well, he wrote it in English for a Western audience about how, you know, the virtuous Japanese and stuff like that. And a lot of Japanese people got the Japanese translation and kind of misconstrued it. So the actual Bushido doesn't really exist.
It's like the mob, the mafia in America. We started producing mob movies.
Yeah.
And then the mob started copying the style of the mobsters in the movies.
Yeah.
It's like art influencing life, influencing art.
Yeah, no, it's true, man.
So a lot of the things that we think about as being historically accurate are complete fucking bullshit.
But maybe maid cafes are historically accurate somewhere.
To Japan.
I don't know where.
Akihabara district.
To now, yeah.
Anyway, guys, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about lots of news topics. We're going to start off with yours because it's kind of poignant.
Yeah, I want to ask you why you're wearing a mask to start with.
So I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, but that's fine. But on the next day, I'm getting on a plane going back to America.
Okay.
And in order to get into America, you have to test negative for PCR test within 24 hours of arrival.
Right, okay.
So I don't give a fuck about contracting. I told all of my staff at my two companies, I said, look at me. I said, you're all going to get the virus. You're all going to get corona at some point.
Right.
I said, please.
Motivational talk.
I said, please, just don't all get it at the same time.
Right, okay.
You know, it's like chicken pox or the flu. Like, everybody's going to get it once.
Right.
So I'm just like, whatever. And everybody's vaccinated, you know, whatever. So I was just like, but I don't care about that. I just don't want to get a negative or a positive PCR test and then be fucking out several $1,000s.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, sorry, bud, you can't get on the plane. And then everything you just paid for is gone.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
I'm just being overly cautious. So just put up with this until the next time that you see me, and it'll be. But anyway.
Well, basically, what's happened is the Japanese government has said that you don't really have to wear face coverings outside anymore as long as you maintain 2 meters distance with people around you.
But how is that possible in Japan?
Well, that's true, but
if you live in the countryside, okay.
I mean, I was just in Tokyo recently, though, and a lot of people aren't wearing masks up there.
Yeah, when I went there a month ago, and everybody was just like, not everybody, I'd say like 80% were wearing masks.
So what we were doing is I wasn't wearing one either, but when we went into the subway, you would put a mask on when you got on the train or whatever. But apart from that, if you're outside, it doesn't matter anyway. And I think 2 meters distance outside is unreasonable anyway.
I think I forgot what the actual science was on this, but like, they're like, if you're outside in sunlight, the chances of like the virus like actually getting to you, I mean, there's a lot of variables obviously, but it's very low.
Yeah. I mean, I spent like 10 days in London outside with no mask on.
You were also there when like, what was it, 1 in 7 or something were currently infected or something?
1 in 13.
It's ridiculous.
It was a lot of people. But basically that message from the government isn't filtering down to the Japanese public.
Well, it is, but they don't care.
I think, it's more kind of like hedging the bets, safety. People prefer to err on the side of caution here, don't like taking risks.
Is that what it is? Or is it that they want to say that they did everything in their power to prevent this?
Well, you don't want to stand out, right? Because if you didn't wear a mask and you're walking around and you get COVID, it's obviously your fault. Yeah. And also people look at you a lot. But I don't care, number one. And number two, somebody's got to point the direction in which we should be heading. So why not me?
So there's a, I don't know if it's in our stories today, but there's a story about how the Japanese government has asked tourists that are coming to Japan, because we're open now, that when they're in public places to, as accustomed with the local, policy to wear masks.
But that's strange because Japanese people aren't being coerced to wear masks, but foreign people are.
I think that the perception is that the Japanese people are just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then if you come in from a country where you weren't wearing a mask, England, America, parts of Europe, whatever, then inform them this is the way that we're doing things currently now.
Well, let's go straight on to that because I've got it right here, actually. Okay. So it's like Japan asks foreign tourists to wear masks and also to take out insurance.
The insurance thing I don't get.
Yeah, I suppose it's for medical costs if they're incurred in Japan, right? But basically 98 countries and regions are allowed to come into Japan, ones with low risk of infection. So the US, Britain, China, South Korea.
What were you saying the other day during lunch? There was a tour from somewhere where they all got COVID in Japan and had to go home?
Thailand. Yeah.
They got it here.
They got it here and then they all had to go back. So everyone got it as well because they're in a group going around together.
Oh, geez.
But basically, the limit of people that can come into the country has been increased, but it's not massively increased.
So they're doing it in steps. I hear that next month on the 10th, July 10th, they're going to be just like, fuck it.
No, that was the other day.
No, that was like the first step up. And then they're doing another one where they're just like, fuck it, I guess.
So, at the moment, only registered travel companies can book tours.
Yeah.
So they've got to be registered with the government. And then you also have to have a tenjoin, like a what's it called, tour conductor with you.
We call them tour guides.
No, it's not a guide. It's a tour conductor. It's different.
What's the difference?
So a tour conductor is somebody who controls the itinerary. A tour guide is somebody who gives you information about what you're seeing.
Oh, okay.
So
whatever.
It's a travel industry difference.
But they're still holding the flag like an idiot.
No, that's a TC. That's tour conductor.
Okay.
Different.
Okay, whatever. I don't know.
But anyway.
It's not my industry.
So yeah. But those people basically have to monitor the foreign tourists coming in, check they're not doing anything wrong, check they're following the rules. And in fact, there's a big document on the internet with all the rules and helpful cartoons showing you how you shouldn't fuck up in Japan, which to Western people looks incredibly patronizing. But they're not trying to patronize Westerners. It's this: you get a camera, you buy a camera in Japan, and it comes with like a little inserted card, and it's like a manga, where it's like, it'll say like, instead of saying don't get your camera wet, it'll be like an anthropomorphized camera. Right. At the beach with his leg in the water going, oh, I don't like it. Yeah.
That's just how they instruct humans in this country.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it doesn't look so good when you're doing it to other people without asking advice about how maybe you should best approach them.
Let's just click on the racism here. And which country do you think is going to come in and have most problems following the rules? I think it's the Italians.
Probably, yeah, but they're not. No, they are on the list, yeah. So
I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that like car navigation systems in Italy are male voices because the men won't listen to women telling them what
is that
to
right?
do. Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, actually. Yeah. But I mean, they're not going to be much of a problem because there are so few people coming and the hurdles to get in are quite high.
Yeah.
So the people who do come and can follow the rules and are, happy to jump through all the hoops to get here can enjoy a fairly tourist-free environment. And there aren't going to be that many people coming from China, from Taiwan, Hong Kong, because their regulations are still quite, tight about getting back into the country.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's weird to me because like, the waves have already spread. Like there's not a country, even like New Zealand and Australia, they're giving up on it. Like there's no isolation. Yeah. I think the only country that's still trying to do that is China. They're like, we're going to do the zero COVID policy, and that's not really working out for them.
So, with the cheap yen now as well, it's like ideal timing to come to Japan because everything's dirt cheap. I mean, it's really, really good time to come.
I know this because on the reverse, I'm going back to the States in 2 days, and it's like, how much is this now?
Yeah. No, I'm sending my daughter to England next month as well, and it's incredibly expensive. So...
I mean, like, also, I don't know about in England, but in America, we recently had record inflation. So everything is already expensive.
Yeah.
Plus the weak yen. It's just like, I'm just not doing anything while I'm there.
Just have to stay in the hotel room. Or the house.
I think I actually have the weak yen story that I should do next then.
Yeah.
So right now, the yen is at absolute historically weak levels. It's at, I think, currently it's like 133 yen to the dollar or something like that. I've never seen levels like this before. And it's like, so far, it's not really hurting Japan. Here it is. The yen sinks to a 20-year low at 133 versus the dollar. Mm-hmm. Now, this isn't currently hurting the economy locally yet, but I think that it will if it goes on, if it's prolonged.
Right.
But what's interesting now is the United States Treasury is currently looking at Japan going, are you guys doing... Like, everybody's doing quantitative easing, which equals signs print money. But they're thinking like the Japanese might be doing a little bit... they're making sure that they're doing everything on the up and up, basically. Because when the yen is really, really weak, exports increase from Japan.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's good for Japan and bad for competing countries like the United States and China. Mm-hmm. And shitty for people leaving the country for travel.
Well, what are you exporting is the question, right?
Yeah. Recently, like, for those of you who think that your Japanese car is made in Japan, it might be designed in Japan. But if you live in North America, chances are your car was made in Mexico.
Yeah.
They have factories in other countries that have much better treaties with the United States than Japan. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that the weak yen will probably last until about the fall, and then it'll bounce back.
Well, if they keep doing quantitative easing, it's not going to get any better, is it? So.
Well, I don't think the world is going to keep letting them do that. I think it's going to be like a trade war if they keep doing that. Let's get to our... what do we got next?
ANA, domestic flights.
Let's do that.
So, Zenniku ANA are resuming regular domestic flights at Tokyo airports from July. So they're actually going to basically put all their domestic routes back into action again after reducing them significantly during COVID. So, it's going to recover 60% passenger capacity, and operation is going to be 94 to 95% during August, which is good news. People are going to start to be able to move around again.
Cheaper.
Hopefully it'll be cheaper as well, yeah. Prices should go down. And I can use many of the miles I've accrued sending my kiddies around the world. Different places. The
thing that pisses me off right now is like, so I'm going back to the States, right? And like you search, before you go to kayak.com or Expedia, you find a cheap flight, you book it, you're done. The experience of going back home this time has been absolutely a fucking nightmare. It's right. First of all, like I what is it? I reserved but didn't pay for it because they wouldn't let you pay for them a couple tickets before. And then they just like, they'd put the listings online, but then they cancel the flights.
Right.
One of our staff was slated to go to Australia for a working holiday, and like he got all packed up, went to the airport, and they're like, your flight is canceled. It's just not flying.
Really?
Yeah, because like they just didn't fill the flights during COVID. So they're just like, they just cancel flights. So instead of that happening, like the very first time in like 25 years, I've used a fucking travel agency, and oh my God, it's like the worst in the world. I fucking will never use a travel agency again. Not only was it a lot cheaper and it's all insured, so that's good. Mm-hmm. But the process of working with, I'm not going to say the name of the country, it's 3 letters, it was absolute garbage.
Right.
You can't even fucking pick your seat before you go to the airport.
Really?
Is this 1992? Like, I cannot, can you sleep on an airplane?
No.
I can't sleep on an airplane, so I need an aisle seat.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go to the toilet once an hour because I'm going to be sitting there playing my fucking Nintendo Switch and like drinking excessive amounts of alcohol.
Right.
So if I'm sat at a window seat, I'm going to bother 2 other people the entire 14-hour flight.
Yeah.
So I need an aisle seat. So I'm going to go to the airport and hopefully, because people don't like aisle seats, that it'll be open. But Jesus, if you put me in the middle seat, I'm a giant man. If you put me in the fucking middle seat, I'm just going to be like...
Oh, it's awful.
It's horrible.
How many hours is it to Vegas?
I think no, it doesn't go straight to Vegas. And that's the other thing. Because there's not a lot of planes out there. Usually, it's like... I go Kagoshima, Incheon in Korea, and Incheon to Vegas.
Okay.
And there's like a 6-hour layover in Incheon, and the government of Korea pays for you to have a tour.
Nice.
During your layover. So I go to Incheon, have a great tour for free, maybe spend some cash, whatever, they accept dollars, get on an airplane and go to Vegas. It's great.
Yeah.
And the stewies are nice. That's an inappropriate word. The CAs are nice. The food is good. It's all great. This time, because we can't do that, I have to fucking go to Haneda tomorrow, stay a night, get PCR tested, go to Narita, and then from Narita, I have to fly to SFO, San Francisco, which is, let's call it, not my favorite airport. It's not as bad as LAX, but it's not my favorite airport. And then from there, have a 6-hour layover with no free tour shit, and then fly to Vegas after that. It's horrible.
Do you have to have a PCR test to leave the country?
I have to get a PCR test to get into America.
Right.
So they're still requiring, I don't know why, a PCR exam. And then to get back into Japan, I have to do another one. So the experience of because the weekend right now, both PCR tests are going to cost me Jumayen, which is the equivalent buying power of $1,000 in Japan.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Plus the cost of everything else that you're doing. It's ridiculous. And the yen is weak.
And this is open travel, apparently. It's not quite there.
Well, I mean, like I said, I recommended to the audience to come in September.
Interesting, you were talking about travel company, 3 letters.
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Whatever.
Yes. And ANA are actually getting rid of the check-in terminals at the airports as well. Did you know that?
No.
So they're going to get rid of all the kiosks. So you can't like press it at the airport or whatever. You have to do it on your phone instead.
So how's it going to work?
Who knows? Nobody knows.
Wait. But they still got to print a packaging ticket for you and everything. How does that work?
I think you do that at the desk or on the machine. But they're getting rid of all the, the standing terminals at the domestic flights.
Yeah.
So people who don't check luggage in don't have to do that.
Majority of people don't. They just carry it on, right?
Precisely, yeah. So, I mean, I do it all on my phone anyway now. Because do you have loyalty with an airline or something like that?
Well, so I have with Korean Air, because obviously I use them a lot, and then I also I only use two airlines. I use Korean Air and I use 3 Korean Air, JAL, and Skymark.
Right.
Because Skymark is the best domestic. I mean, like, they're just so easy for domestic flights.
Yeah.
But JAL is great. JAL is really good from Japan to some country. But once you get your connecting flight, especially if you're in North America, you fly in an American carrier. American carriers are the worst. Indian, Chinese, then American are the worst in the world.
North Korean.
Never been.
My friend went on a North Korean plane and he said there was no doors on the luggage bins above the seats.
Like a bus.
Yeah. And when they landed, and he was one of the last people to get off the plane, they started folding all the seats down into the floor. They actually folded down.
To make a cargo plane.
Into a cargo plane thing. So he was like, what the hell is this? This is before, it was closed off. So he went on a journalistic tour of North Korea. And it's insane. Show me the photos. It's mad.
Every time I've ever seen videos of that, it just looks like it's a parody of a dictatorship.
Well, it's kind of what's happening in Japan now with the tourism. You've got somebody guiding you
around.
Yeah,
but they're not confiscating your camera and deleting your photos.
That's true, because that did happen to my friend as well.
Really?
Yeah,
did you go to the American shop? They have like an American shop with like 6 cans of Coca-Cola and some Doritos.
I'll have to ask him. I'll find out. But he took a picture of Kim Jong. Not the one before, 2 before the present guy. Okay. And he had a telegraph pole coming out of his head because of the angle of the photo.
Yeah.
And he was terrified they'd find it at the airport because they'd think they're taking the piss out of him or something like that. But he did it purely by accident. But luckily, I think he got away with it. So.
The worst airline I've ever been on is from Fukuoka to Bali, and it was Garudo Airlines. Josh, can you Google that?
Never heard of that before.
Garuv. I don't know. It's the Indonesian national airline.
Okay.
I think it's called Garudo. I might be confusing that with the Zelda race of people.
Garuda, Indonesia.
Garuda, Indonesia. And the great thing about them, not only do I think they have the worst safety record in the world. I'm pretty sure that.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of their planes fall out of the sky. Not only that, but when you're boarding and you're leaving, they have a like incredibly impassioned theme song for their airline that they play on the speakers for like way too long. It was really scary.
Yeah, I won't be flying with them, I don't think.
But I was pretty drunk the whole time, so I don't really remember it, but it was fun.
Do you know about super flyers for Anna? Have you heard about that?
No.
I've got super flyers now. So you've to
Sounds
do
like an STI.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. Super flyer. You have to do like a lot of business people do it. They call it shugyo, like training to get up to the level to become super flyers, get a credit card.
Okay.
So you have to get a certain amount of miles and then you have to get platinum status. And then that affords you the right to pay, I think it's about Ichiman Rokusen a year to keep the platinum member status benefits, even if you don't have the status anymore.
Yeah.
So you can use the lounges for free and check in quickly and stuff like that. But it takes about 2 years to get it, I think.
Really?
Yeah, just domestic flights going in and out.
It's a great business proposition for them.
Oh, it is, yeah, because then you can't get away from that airline.
Yeah, you're locked in.
You're invested, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how much they piss me off, I never quite switch over to JAL, even though I've been threatening to do so for about 3 years.
Kind of along those lines. So before I went international, I decided to call my credit card companies to tell them I'm, going abroad so they don't stop my credit cards or whatever. And the two experiences that I want to share. One, I have my general bullshit buying stuff that I don't need credit card, and then I have like my serious credit card.
Right.
My bullshit credit card is a MasterCard from Amazon, but it's like fulfilled through Mitsuno Bank or something like Mitsukoshi Bank or something like that. Whatever.
Mizuno? Not Mitsukoshi, I don't think.
Some Japanese bank. I don't know.
Okay.
It's written on the card. But anyway, when I called them, I was like, I'm going to travel internationally. Can you make sure that there's no blocks or anything put on my card? And they're like, you're what? And I'm like, I'm going to travel internationally. So can you please like make sure that, nothing funny happens to my card? They're like, what do you mean? And I was like, can I speak to somebody that knows what they're doing? And I spoke to somebody else, and then I explained it to them. Oh, they're like, okay, how long are you going to be gone? Where are you going? Okay. And I told her all the information. We've lowered the security basically of your card for this time. So nothing will be flagged or whatever. I was like, thank you very much. That was MasterCard's, the fulfillment bank, whatever. Call American Express. Okay, I got a gold medal card with American Express. Call them up. Not only is like the voice level just like 10 points hotter.
Right.
Like not only is that a thing, but she's just like, anything you want. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Vegas. She's like, how much do you think you're going to spend there?
Right.
And I was like, I don't think I'm going to spend over 100,000 yen, which is what, $8,000, something like that. And then she's like, "Kasukomarimashita." And then she like came back to me and she's like, we've cleared you for 500 man.
Right.
500,000 yen, which is like the equivalent of like, I don't know, like $45,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So she's like, and have fun on your trip. And she's like, by the way, these are the lounges that you can stay in on your trip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is why people use American Express or like real good credit card companies versus fucking Amazon MasterCard.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like, what is this crap? But anyway, yeah. I'm not going to spend anything like that. I hope nobody steals my card.
They want you to spend that much.
They do.
They want that interest, that delicious interest.
Well, they only get it once though, because in Japan, when you spend something on a credit card, you got to pay it back in full next time around.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not really a credit card, is it?
No, it can.
You can do it now.
Barai.
Yeah, Ripo Barai, but I don't like doing that.
Yeah, you shouldn't as much as you can. All right, let's go to your next song, and then we're going to do something super serious.
All right, I got something space related.
Cool.
So apparently amino acids have been found in asteroid samples collected by Japan's Hayabusa 2 probe, which maybe was launched from Kagoshima. I don't know.
Well, it was from Tanegashima.
Yeah.
And it was the only human-made anything that ever landed on an asteroid and then took off again and came back to Earth.
Nice.
The only one.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So apparently there's been 20 types of amino acids detected in a sample that Hayabusa 2 has brought back to Earth from space. And it's the first time that organic compounds have been found on an asteroid, apparently. So the probe of Ryuga was aimed at unraveling the mysteries of the solar system and the origin of life. And previous analysis of samples has suggested that water and organic matter was also present as well. So it's pretty interesting, really. I mean, if... there's amino acids on asteroids. One of them might have slammed into Earth and, created all of us.
So that's what they're theorizing, is that amino acids, which are pretty complex, might have came to Earth through asteroids.
Yeah.
and then mixed in the primordial goop, and then that's where we came from.
Nice. I found out an interesting thing the other day.
Okay.
Sharks are older than trees.
So are lobsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never thought that would be the case.
Yeah. Trees are actually a recent thing.
Yeah.
Quite recent.
Cut the fuckers down. What? No, I'm joking.
No, actually, when you look at the actual timeline of things, there are a lot of surprising things on the timeline where you think like, well, wouldn't that predate this?
There's something else I heard. What was it now? I think it was Rory Sutherland, the ad guy.
He keeps getting fatter.
He does,
but I'm okay with it.
But he's so good.
Yeah.
He can talk for hours. You can listen to him for ages, right?
I do. I put him on and it's just great.
Yeah, I love Rory Sutherland. Great. But you said Cleopatra was, what was it?
No. Yeah, I know what it is. Yep.
The pyramids were already ancient when Cleopatra was around.
So we are closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the pyramids.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, which is mind-boggling.
That blew my mind, man.
Did you know, I think he said it in the same talk, that after the pyramids were created, the next permanent man-made structure that was that size was the Eiffel Tower.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Shit.
So from the pyramids, which were like 5,000 years ago, I think, which are, the pyramids basically predate everything.
Yeah.
The pyramids all the way to the Eiffel Tower, which was the
1840s.
Whatever.
Right?
Until then, there was nothing that height.
That's crazy.
Ever again built.
Madness.
Here's the other thing. Oxford University predates the Aztecs.
Does it?
It does.
So what year would that be?
Oxford University was from like the year, I think, like 1100 or something like that. I forgot.
Wait, when's it? Aztecs to me seems really ancient. I don't know why
No,
that
they're
is.
not. South America and North America, recent.
Right.
Recent.
Huh.
I mean, you can think about it. Think about Oxford's what?
1300. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Oxford's like 1130 or something like that. I forgot. 1096.
So look up York Minster. York Minster's about that 1300s as well. So that's the same as the Aztecs, is it? It's like a huge church in northern England.
Maybe age.
I think it's
1385. Yeah, so same as the Aztecs.
That's mad. People were building stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Did you know that we forgot how to make concrete? Like the Romans made and the Greeks made excellent concrete. That's why all that shit's still there. Mm-hmm. And then in the medieval ages, the dark ages that happened after that, humans forgot a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Including how to make concrete.
Glass as well was another thing.
A lot of things, you know. And the Romans had aqueducts. They had plumbing.
Yeah.
Then you go to the medieval, the dark ages, and it's just like, what's that?
They had underfloor heating as well.
Yeah, they had crazy shit. And vomitoriums, by the way, weren't where people went to go puke. They're just literally exits, and they're called vomitoriums because of the Latin.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just like where people exit. It's nothing to do with throwing up. It's a misnomer. Let's get into something serious. Victims speak up as Japan moves to protect young people in porn. So this, I want to get your hot take on this, okay? So basically, there's a bill in the Diet that's going through that will protect 18 and 19-year-olds, allowing them to use an escape clause to prevent their media from entering circulation.
Okay.
So basically, they can be lured in to do a shoot, pornographic shoot, because the legal age from that is 18 and above.
Yeah.
And then have their likeness be legally not usable afterwards, after being paid and everything. They say, don't use my image.
Right.
And then just screw over the production.
So they'll just blow the faces out, right?
No, you couldn't use it at all. Which doesn't really make any sense. But according to industry insiders, they say that no legitimate, respectable producers actually approached anyone under the age of 20 anyways.
Right, I see.
So how do you feel about this? Because in America, there's literally like videos of like girls counting down to their birthday when they turn 18.
How do you get in a porn movie without some sense of, being complicit to the process is what I don't understand.
They had interviews with these two women that said that they were like victimized by the porn industry. And like their accounts are basically like, I had a hard time, I couldn't pay my rent, and then it seemed like easy money and I got involved in it kind of thing.
That's kind of like your own fault, isn't it?
Well, so...
do you know what I mean? It's not like anybody's literally banging you over the head and dragging you...
coercing you into doing it.
Into a studio like this.
So we would never produce such smutty things here.
No.
There was this excellent digest of like, this has nothing to do with Japan, but like in the West there was like this case of like this girl who got drunk with a boy. They both got drunk at a college party. They went home. They had what presumably consensual sex because they're both drunk. And then afterwards, the girl claimed that she was raped because she said, I couldn't consent while I was drunk, even though the guy was also drunk.
Okay.
And the criticism of this was, you're either an adult that's responsible for your actions or you're not. Mm-hmm. And if you're constantly saying, well, I was drunk so I couldn't consent, then you should be considered a pet or a non-adult human. No, because follow the logic on this one.
Right.
Because if you're drunk and you're no longer responsible for your own actions, then you shouldn't be around men who are real adults who are responsible for their actions, no matter if they're sober or not.
Right.
And so you should always just be kept away from guys.
Right.
It was like this comment. And you start to think about that, and it kind of makes sense because if you're a man, you get belligerently drunk and you start a brawl in a bar, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you were drunk or not. You are responsible for your actions when you're sober or not.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of a sudden, when this new feminist wave is like, well, we can't consent unless, if everybody's wasted and, whatever you're on, because you're in college, it's like that's kind of the situation. Everybody should be individually responsible for their own actions.
Well, you see, the problem now is everybody can't accept the fact that you made a mistake.
Right.
That's the problem.
Regret equals rape these days. And
yeah.
I mean, there are legitimate cases where, don't get me wrong, that there should be, there are cases like that. But I think like this kind of like overprotection of especially women makes it seem like women they don't have any autonomy. They're not like actual people that can, they have to be protected. And I think that's a step backwards in the progress for equality.
Well, if somebody, for example, has recorded you without consent or without you knowing or exploited you in some way, that's fine. But if you have taken a sum of money in exchange for an action
signed on the line
or signed something, that's your fucking fault. I'm sorry to say. And naivety is not an excuse once you're an adult in society, I don't think.
A Reddit user called Zerami he says, industry person here, and this is pretty much correct. I believe one of the two things will happen. Via back-channel discussions with the industry, a multi-billion-dollar one, blah, 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 blah. The law will go back to only cover 18 and 19-year-olds. Oh, at this point, it's covering all ages.
Right, okay.
And so the ultimate win-win politicians can say that they did something to address the allegations, and then like it'll only cover 18 and 9-year-olds. And since the legitimate studios only hire 20 and above, it doesn't affect them. Right. So this will only affect like underground kind of bad places, which there are. Yeah. And I think that there should be what is it called? Like systems in place to protect like shady places from exploiting anyone who's not of legal age or of sound mind and can consent.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But this is going, I think, a little bit too far.
Well, it's got to be some kind of legislation, right? Japan likes to do things that are kind of vague. Like, for example, there's a couple of years ago, there was the kakusei problem, like with, man-made drugs. I can't remember the names of them now.
Yeah, whatever. Legal
high type things or whatever.
Yeah.
So the government, making them illegal would have been difficult and would have had to make them go through lots of loopholes. So they made possession of them require, a test to see if they were actually illegal or not. Okay. And this test would take like 6 months or something. And while the test was being carried out, you had to go to prison and wait.
Oh, God.
Until the test results were complete. So some kind of like way of stepping around the law to basically lock everybody up at the same time.
The bureaucrats are really good at figuring out if they want to action, but they like, for example, like during the lockdowns in the pandemic, there's nothing in the Constitution that allows the government to do a lockdown.
Yeah.
But they got around that. They figured out how to make it work.
Yeah.
Without actually ever having a hard lockdown. So, and mostly just via shame.
Yeah, but then you can undo that as well if you want to. But the thing is, how do you get people to stop wearing masks in public, for example?
Oh.
You've got to do a negative campaign then about masks to get them to take them off.
I don't think the government cares if they keep wearing masks or
not.
They
don't. No, they don't care.
If I was a politician, like right as we're going into the pandemic, I would have like invested in mask companies.
But it is an environmental issue as well, though.
Yeah. You see like rivers in like parts of the world that are just filled with like plasticky masks and stuff.
So I bought some masks at the shop the other day because when I go into a restaurant or a cafe or whatever, I wear one to.
It's like taking off. It's like it becomes like a manner thing. You just take off your hat when you come indoors. It's kind of the same thing.
But every single mask is in a plastic package.
Oh, I don't like that.
And it's a package of 50?
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's obviously for the environment.
Of course.
And this country absolutely 100% recycles all their plastic.
No, they don't just burn it.
They burn it.
Totally burn it, right? Yeah.
Well, they actually used to claim that they could, this is a lot of countries, also America and Canada, that they were just selling it to the Chinese, and the Chinese were recycling it.
Right,
but then
burning
the CCP passed a law that they can't do that anymore because they weren't actually doing anything. They're just like burying it.
Right.
Anyway. I want to go to my next story because it's kind of related. We must change Japan's morning after pill debate. So this is something that I'm actually a pretty hardcore progressive. And so when I see like overreaching legislations, I think that that's not good.
Right.
And so on both sides. And so this is actually something that I do support. Basically, the story is that in Japan, in order to get the morning after pill, you have to go to a clinic and get it from a doctor.
Yeah.
So if you have a mistake, let's call it a mistake. If you have a mistake on Friday, clinics are closed on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Morning after pill only works for 72 hours.
Yeah.
So by the time you get examined on, Monday morning or afternoon, it's kind of too late.
Yeah.
In any part of the Western world, North America, EU, and other Asian countries, you just go to the pharmacy or drugstore and you just get it.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
Oh, it should be available over the counter.
Right?
Definitely.
It's completely safe.
I mean, it's like the whole process is too convoluted, too difficult, and
especially vulnerable girls who are already feeling like, what do I do? What do I do? You don't want to give them a bunch of hurdles to jump through.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fairly safe, tested pill. It's not like it's some new thing that's going to cause loads of medical issues.
Decades old.
So I don't see why that, autonomy isn't there. It doesn't make any sense.
If you look at the side effects of anything, like the side effects from vitamin C, I think there's like 19 of them.
Yeah.
So like everything has a side effect, but on the whole, like the morning after pill is incredibly safe.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's good for young women here, and sexual education in Japan also sucks.
But they get it. They figure it out though somehow. There's no formal education, but they somehow figure it out.
Loads of porn. That's probably why.
I saw a video on the internet today. Actually, it was probably a high school, and one of the guys play. The Pornhub community like logo, like drum beat maybe. Anyway,
yes.
This kid in his band class just like rattles that off on the drums, and like the kids in the classroom are like 15 years old,
right,
and they all start laughing,
right.
And I'm like, you gotta think about the ramifications of raising a generation or two that have access to that kind of smutty shit all over the internet.
See, when I was a kid, you had to work to get porn.
Yeah, you had to find it.
You
in
had
a
to
book.
find it. You had to find like a discarded. Calendar in the street with pages stuck together.
The J.C. Penney's lingerie section of their catalog.
Or if you're hard struck, a medical textbook.
God damn it.
You had to jump through hoops, my man. And it's not like today where you just open your phone up and fucking whatever.
Yeah, anything you want.
I remember you had to download porn. It would take you 20 minutes to get a picture.
Line by line, and come across.
Like that.
And you're just like waiting until it gets to certain areas, and you're just like...
So, and you
can't
go away.
This is way faster than it would actually be. It would be like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And then you don't know what you're getting as well because it was just a file name a lot of the time. Something .jpeg. So it started coming down.
The internet was so dodgy before.
Yeah. But like, I hope this is legal. You know what I mean?
No, I hope this is a girl. Anyway, you go to one of yours.
All right, I've got a headline here that says, survey suggests about half of Japanese companies has an old guy who does nothing.
Okay, so I actually read this story when I was in the car with you the other day when we were doing a location shot. But anyway, go on. This is really good.
I think this might be me. Oh, no, I'm joking.
I actually thought it was me too.
So basically, this consulting firm, Shikigaku, conducted a survey of 300 employees from various companies with over 300 staff members and asked if they had an old guy who doesn't work. So the people who were interviewed were between 20 and 39 years of age. So I suppose old guys might be anywhere from 40 up, which is, me and you.
Well, no, I'm still 39. Fuck you and your horse.
No, it's definitely you. Japanese age, you're 40.
Yeah, I had to do my medical check, and on the top it said, "This is your first 40 medical check." And I was just God.
So 49.2% responded that there was an old guy who doesn't do anything. And they asked what they were doing. So they said taking smoking breaks, snacking, staring into space, idle chatting, and browsing the internet. So a lot of people think that these people have no desire to work, but are just being employed for no reason whatsoever. It's kind of true. I've seen a few of these people around.
I used to, I'm not going to say gender or age, but I did hire somebody that would come to work and just waste time. And it was really obvious too. And like, this person's coworkers would constantly mention this to me.
Yeah, see, for me, if somebody doesn't give me something to do, I'll find something to do because I get bored.
Right? You want to do something. I want to feel like I did something today.
So it's like, oh, I've not got anything to do today. Let me create a new ticketing system for the fucking park or whatever. And then
You're calling it a park now. You're calling it a park now.
Whatever, the place. Implement it, you know. I do all that with no, you know, orders to do so or anything like that. Just because it's something to do.
Well, in your position, you're more you're not like the peasants at the bottom. You're kind of like you have like autonomy. You can do whatever you want. So it's more like showing results to the upper guy.
Yeah, and I also really do it for myself, not to show anybody.
Yeah.
Just because I want to say, you know, I've done something productive today.
Yeah.
I can't sit staring at the screen or just looking out the window or something.
I'm sure we have ALT listeners. When I was an ALT, I was only an ALT for 1 year. I got bored, I think 3 months in, and I started playing World of Warcraft, and then that got boring.
Right.
And then I decided that I was going to make, and I still have it today, it's a 120-page report on how stupid the JET program is. Sourced with interviews from like some professor in, I think, Kyoto.
Right.
And like I submitted it to what is it called? Claire.
Yeah.
And their response to me was like, please don't show this to any of the Japanese staff. Because it was, and I was immediately like sent it to the Japanese side as well.
So, I mean, we did try and change a few things while we were doing it, but quickly realized that even though you put together these presentations and, you know, get everybody together, they all joined in with it, and then they got to the end of it and were thinking, oh yeah, maybe we can change the way they do homework, and then didn't. You know, they just went back to what they were doing before because it's easier to do that. And also it's been mandated that they should do it that way. So we quickly learned it's not possible to change it. So I spent my time mainly doing Japanese culture stuff.
Yeah, if you're smart, you just learn Japanese while you're there.
I learned Japanese grammar, learned to do calligraphy. So I got Sandan in calligraphy, I think, while I was an ALT.
Somebody was watching your People of Kagoshima video, or no, I was watching it at somebody's house, and I was like showing them what we're producing, and then it got to yours, and then you're writing calligraphy, and like these two, the Tsukino Akari, those two.
Oh yeah.
They're watching. They're like, "Chiga kirei." So that is. I mean, I don't know if I want to spend. I don't know how many years it would take to get that one compliment to feel satisfied with that progression, but
it's
you
the
definitely
journey.
Got it.
It's the journey.
You
it's
definitely
not the
got
destination.
The other day, I was like filling out paperwork for my loan, and I was like, "How do you write that kanji?" I was like, "Somebody write it for me."
Yeah, it's good to have those. I did write. Oh no, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. It's all right. Somebody wrote, instead of writing wife, tsuma, they wrote mugi on the, in fact, it was my wife who wrote this. Instead of writing tsuma, which is the word for wife, she wrote mugi on her wedding application
mugi,
at City
which is
Hall.
like grain? Wheats?
Yeah.
Because mugi could be all sorts of mugi.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Josh, when you fill in the paperwork, be careful.
I don't think Josh wants to talk about it, but there was an error on his wedding paperwork.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't. Not the one that they turned in. It's the witnessing one.
I see.
Yeah, not the one that he wrote.
So you're doing the paperwork tomorrow, Josh? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Oh no, I'm fine talking about it. The paperwork's already done.
Nice.
It's been done for like 2 weeks now.
It's so weird getting married in Japan, Mitch. I know that you almost went there, but
Shut the fuck up.
Let's not roll back to that, eh? But
you bring up my failed marriage more than I do.
I just love it so
It's not
much.
even a failed marriage. What is it? What was that movie called? Failure to launch. It wasn't even like the rocket exploded in the air. It just never got off the launch.
Just never turned the engine on.
Yeah, just sat there, and we're like, fuck it.
Set it all up and filmed it.
Got in my spacesuit. Got in. Like, let's do like the Armageddon soundtrack. And actually, let's just fuck off and go to the bar.
Yeah. No, that was as I say to you again, do not do an epic proposal.
It was pretty good.
It was a good proposal.
I peaked at that point. That was the peak.
Too early. Yeah.
Too early.
But when you get married in Japan, you fill out these forms, take them to City Hall, hand them over.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're done. And they don't even say congratulations. They're just like, here's a collection schedule for the rubbish.
One of my staff, Joe, Mina Kago Couple, she has a YouTube channel, Mina Kago Couple. She went with her now husband to the city hall and did the same thing, and they didn't even have staff. They just had a security guard there.
Right.
And like they turned it in, and there he's like, "Ganbare."
And
that was it. It's like nothing. And I was just like, "Are you happy with that?" She's like, "No, it's horrible."
Josh, I want to hear your feedback, man, from the thing tomorrow.
Oh, I'll take some pictures and stuff.
What time are you going?
We haven't decided what time, but it's...
Wait, you have to go in the afternoon because the morning is bad, right? Or something like that?
No, we have to go in the morning because from the afternoon, it is a bad day, according to... I don't know, it's like some
There's this like
Japanese
hocus
thing.
pocus, like days have like good luck or bad luck.
Oh, right.
Various levels of good luck or bad luck.
Is it Daikichi tomorrow?
It's not Daikichi. That's what you get from an old Dera-san. But yeah, I kind of like
What's
that.
it called now? I've forgotten the word for it.
I have no idea what it's called.
There's a
like,
calendar that you can
Yeah.
pay too much money to get and verify this hocus pocus stuff with. Anyway,
But, yeah,
what are you gonna wear?
I don't know.
Hawaiian shirt?
I really haven't thought it out. It's like tomorrow is just like the paperwork.
No, but
thing.
that
It's
photo
symbolic.
will be blown up to poster size at your wedding.
No, I'm planning my Hawaiian wedding. That's not going to be there.
No, I mean the Japanese side of it.
Oh, okay.
What
So-
are you doing that?
No, I'll help. But so that's
He's going to pay for it.
Right.
I have
Good.
to pay for it now.
Good job. Well done,
Jesus.
Mitch. That's on record now.
I did not agree
no
to this.
backing out. And I would say for an employee of Josh's caliber, I'd say about 300 man is probably what.
Oh,
you should
I was
be
thinking
forking
more
out.
than that, but hey, if that's cool, that's cool.
All right, we've got that on
I can
record.
put it on the Amex according to the sexy lady on
You
the phone.
can. You can.
I was going to say you're going to have to add another tier to our Patreon if you're going to want to pay that off.
Yeah, let's add the Josh's wedding fund tier.
Yeah.
Like one time is what, $500,000.
Maybe we should do a Mitch get married fund as well.
It's
We can
not-
try
you
and
know,
launch that.
I've honestly given up. I just think that's not going to happen. It's just okay. Like I'm just okay with it not happening.
Well,
Like, do we need more of me in the world? I don't think we do.
probably not. Actually,
Right,
no.
so we're good.
Well, send in your application to... What was your email? Oh.
Mitch at stapleton.me. No, send it to Josh at stapleton.me so he can vet it for you.
Send in the application.
I put a shout out on the show like 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, if anybody's like in a English speaking country that wants to get the fuck out of Dodge and come live in Japan and work here, send me your resume because we are looking for people.
Right.
I got bombarded with resumes.
Did you?
I was shocked. Not only I was like, people listen to our show. Not only
Right.
was that shocking in itself,
Right.
but like I was just like, holy shit! There's a lot of people that want to get out of their home countries and come live in here. If you guys, I will get back to all of the people who sent me resumes. Sorry if I haven't gotten back.
Well, it's
to
a
you.
pretty good place to work, I'd say.
It's fucking fantastic. I love it here.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to find things to complain about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't go with that yet. I want to do that in a second. Let's do a couple of serious ones, then we'll do that.
All right.
Kishida eyes, one of those stupid verbs they use in headlines, attending NATO summit in late June, first time for Japan.
Okay.
NATO, which stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Okay.
So kind of little bit fish out of water there. Is going to be slated for June in Spain, blah, 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 blah. So Kishida is the first prime minister from Japan is going to go there. And so they're basically thinking about, because Russia did some bad things recently. I don't know if you've been following the news.
Yep.
And so there's Australia, New Zealand, South Korea have also been invited to attend the NATO summit. And so it's going to have to change their name to just like World All Oceans Treaty Organization. Wow.
Wow. Doesn't sound very intimidating, does it?
Yeah, especially when Putin's like angrily saying NATO. If he's like angrily saying wow, it's kind of a giggle there. Let me do one more kind of serious one here. Chinese men, it doesn't really matter where they're from. Men arrested over alleged plot to cheat on Japan university exam. The reason why I'm bringing this up, so these two guys, like, they somehow got the questions to a university exam, and so they were smart enough to do that. But they were stupid enough to like go to basically the Japanese version of Yahoo Answers
Right.
and ask for help on the...
Is it on Chiebukuro or something?
Yeah.
No.
They're like, can you help us figure out these difficult questions because we don't know?
Right.
And then like that got reported to the police and then they got arrested because apparently cheating on a university entrance exam is something you can get arrested for in this country.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mind you, it always makes the news when people have cheated. You know, they're very, very, aware of fairness and dislike unfairness here.
But I don't know. Like in America, you do get blacklisted if you cheat. Like the university will blacklist you, which is, bad.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Police are investigating under the assumption that the pair arranged to use devices that would go unnoticed to those around them to cheat on the test.
Wow.
So they're basically going to Bruce Willis the test.
What was the university? Did it say?
I don't know. It was somewhere in Tokyo, I think. But anyway, the university's comment was really great. This situation is regrettable.
Regrettable. Yeah. Zanne.
Yeah, but like the English translation of that just makes you feel like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me do one more serious one, then you can do yours, because that's
All right.
going to be a little bit of a discussion. Man gets 18 years in prison for a 2017 Japanese highway road rage death. Basically, this dude got pissed off at a family, like sped in front of them and started brake checking them on the highway. The family pulled over out of fear and then got rear-ended by a truck, and then the parents passed away at the scene.
That. Yeah.
Horrible news, but I don't know. What's your take on this?
Well, I drive a lot, I think. And you do see some dickheads on the road, to be honest with you. Recently, it's getting worse. I don't know why. You'd think that these stories on the news would put people off, potentially.
I think it desensitizes people. They think it's a video game now.
Possible,
Mario Kart effect.
So I recommend everybody gets a drive recorder,
Oh, yeah.
video
need it
thing.
for sure.
I don't have one, actually. I should probably get one.
Get one. They're 2 mon, and apparently, like, Carl, one of our friends, he's like, I've already recorded funny things on it.
Oh, God. He would say that. He probably checks it, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
Yeah. I mean, today, I was just crossing the road to come here, and some guy almost ran over me. I was walking across the road before he turned the corner, and he didn't slow down. And then he gave me a really dirty look out the window.
Were you crossing on red like you usually do?
No, there wasn't any street light there or anything like that. It was just in front of a car park. So everybody crosses there.
Well, pedestrians have the right of way.
And the lights were red as well. So, he should have stopped.
He's wrong then, yeah.
But while he was stopped at the lights, I kind of looked in his car and waved at him.
It's always intimidating.
And then he was looking straight ahead then. Because a foreign person came up to him.
But consider this. Let's say that, one of your loved ones or a friend is like out there driving, and then due to some asshole, like there's an accident which results in their death.
Yeah.
Do you think that person getting 18 years would be justice, or do you think it's not good enough? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, it's so many circumstances involved. You'd probably want some kind of justice to be carried out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on the circumstances, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I mean, I'm obviously not married, but if I was married and my wife got like into an accident because of a road rage fucker, I would be like, okay, let's just take her age now to where she would have probably, when she would have, passed away from old age, and that should be your jail sentence.
Yeah. If it's road rage, then yeah, I think so, because there's culpable action there. If it's an accident, then,
accidents are different. Like if both people are trying. The funny thing about Japanese accidents is there's no 100% non-liability.
If you run over a kid who jumps in front of your car, it's your fault.
Because the kid has the right of way.
Yeah, even if he jumps in front of the car.
I kept trying to explain this to one of our mutual friends. I don't want to say the person's name, but this person has a bad habit of speeding through residential areas.
Right, I see.
And I'd be in the car and be like, slow the fuck down. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This person's just an idiot and doesn't understand. If a child, he's like, oh, I'm in control. I'm like, yeah, but you can't control the circumstances around you. So if a kid jumps in front of you, you're just going to murder a kid.
And you'll be in prison for
forever.
A very long time. Yeah. Even if they're, if it's not your fault, if it really isn't your fault, I mean, you're still culpable. That's just the reality in Japan.
In Japan, like, let's say you get into a car accident and it's like almost like in any other country, it'd be 100% the fault is on the other side. They'll still fault you like 90-10 or 80-20.
Yeah.
Because it's that whole idea of like, even if they're at fault, you should have been driving defensively to avoid the accident.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this so many times because every time there was like a bump or a scrape with a rent-a-car from a foreign person outside where I work, the police would phone me and say, can you come out and help delegate between these two people? Because they knew I could speak English and
Japanese.
Obviously I was working there as well. So I've done it so many times, people from Hong Kong mainly and Taiwan as well, who spoke a bit of English and kind of negotiating between the two drivers or whatever. Mostly, luckily, it's just little bumps and things like that. But
if you're full covered, it's just like whatever. But
people get really weird though with car accidents. So at first, they say you should never apologize.
Not in Japan.
So you should just go, "Are you okay?" Or even that may be construed wrongly. But if you say, "Oh, I'm sorry," it's your fault. So one of them was like this guy from Hong Kong. He was in a car and a Japanese older lady backed up and rammed into their car, basically.
Yeah.
And the police were saying it was the Hong Kong people's fault because, they were foreigners or whatever.
Yeah.
And the old woman was saying, no, I backed into them. But they were kind of not really understanding it for some reason. So I spoke to the people from Hong Kong and they explained it, and she was in the wrong for backing up. And while they were explaining to me, the old woman had gone into the shop, the convenience store, and bought a massive bag of stuff.
To give them to
drinks
apologize.
And food and all kinds of stuff, and gave it over to them to apologize.
That's so cute.
And then she tried to give them cash as well to pay for the damages. But they said, we don't need that, It's
insured.
It's insured, it's covered. Yeah. So there's not really any malice a lot of the time, but, you've got to be a little bit careful about what you say.
I always give a wide berth to anybody who's old.
Yeah.
If I see them and they're like kind of older, I'm like, this guy is unpredictable. I'm just going to stay away
Or
from
young.
him. Or if they're very young, yeah.
Young people are dangerous.
I really think that's going to go on for a while, so just hold on to that second.
All right, do one more.
One more. And that, this will be good. Japan Welfare Ministry to conduct survey on male sexual trauma. So this is, it's necessary. I do believe this is a necessary thing. They're basically like, with little social awareness of the issue, the ministry wants to quickly create a support system for male victims of sexual violence and by securing a better grasp of the situation, they said. I don't want them, male victims, to blame themselves. No one knows what to do when a sexual assault happens suddenly, says an official of the Fukuoka Victim Support Center in Fukuoka Prefecture.
Wait, hold on. So this is men who've been sexually abused?
Yes.
By?
Whoever. I mean, like, obviously there's
well, how does this happen?
So this is what we need awareness for, guys, is that there is this kind of old school thinking where like men can't be the victims of sexual trauma. Well, they absolutely can be. And there's support forums on Reddit that are only about this. So here, I'll give you a couple examples.
Go on.
So obviously there's the male on male sexual predation that could happen.
Yeah.
Then there's also
the prison situation.
Well, that's your stereotypical situation, but this can also mostly sexual assault and things like that usually happen in the home.
Right.
And so that's one situation. Another one could be like an older woman who grooms or, would on every level would be sexual assault if the genders were reversed.
Right.
But then it happens like, if the kid's like 7 or 8. Right. That's what we're talking about. Stuff like that. Stuff that's like absolutely out of the realm of like normalcy, and that could be covered by just like boys having fun or something like that.
Yeah. And
then there's really no place for those guys who have been assaulted or have been traumatized to go.
Right.
And they feel like your action just now is like, well, I should just suck it up because I'm a dude and I shouldn't feel these things, and then it makes it worse and it puts them into bouts of depression, stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
So it's just education on that, because like anybody can be assaulted, especially if they're vulnerable. Yeah. And so that's what that's about, and it's a good step. We kind of came to this realization. I mean, it's still working itself out, but we kind of came to this realization, I think, during the early 2000s or late 90s in America. And so it's still progressing, but yeah, it is happening. Anyway, let's get to your extremely Japanese story.
Okay, the most Japanese complaint you've ever gotten. Where's this from? I don't know what this is.
It's a Reddit Japan life thread.
So this guy's married to a Japanese lady, and basically she had some kind of issue at work, and he's kind of relating that on Reddit or wherever. So he's saying his wife was running late for work and decided to grab a quick onigiri rice ball at the station and eat it on the train for breakfast. So eating on the train, very un-Japanese, it says. And apparently another passenger who saw her doing that recognized the company pin on her coat and decided to call the company and complain. So the company is in a regional area of Japan, so it's quite easy to guess who it was. And as soon as she arrived at work, she got a massive bollocking from a boss saying that her actions reflected poorly on the company. And then she had to apologize to the higher up people in the company, and also an email was sent out to everybody instructing all employees that actions are a reflection of the company as well. And this guy said it's kind of bizarre, and he laughed about it. And could anybody else relate experiences like that as well?
Have you ever had anything like that happen before?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. In my previous job. So when I was in ALT, this happened once. So I used to wear kind of baggier trousers, I guess.
But that was at work, not going to work.
Yeah, that's true. That was at work, but not going to work so much now. I mean, I had it when I was a school kid in England.
What?
I went to a private school, so it's quite strict.
With a uniform.
So I was one day walking along the road eating an ice cream I'd bought from the ice cream van, which before going to the bus stop. And a teacher coming the other way who was leaving work saw me and grabbed it out of my hand and threw it in the bin in front of me and said, "You don't eat wearing school uniform in public." And then the next day at school, everybody got told off about, eating outside wearing school uniform. So that kind of thing does happen abroad as well. But, I've never really had it in the company I'm in now, but I can imagine that happening, certainly. For example, wearing a mask outside.
Or not wearing a mask.
Or not
outside.
wearing a mask. But, it depends because the government guidelines are different, right?
So, actually, counterpoint to this, that's why a lot of companies actually don't let employees wear their uniforms outside of work.
Yeah, that's true. They get changed.
Yeah, because they don't trust them to reflect on the company outside of work.
Yeah, true. So, especially when in drinking situations at night as well, people take off the company pin badges before they go out drinking, so you can't clue where they work.
During the 2008 economic turndown with the Great Recession, JAL fired a bunch of their stewardess. That's not their cabin attendant, whatever. They're all women anyway. So they fired a bunch of them, okay?
Yeah.
And so these disgruntled employees then sold their uniforms on the black market
Right.
to like fetish shops and stuff.
Right, okay. Nice.
So that was like big thing in the news. So after that, like a lot of companies wised up and they're like, nope, you're not taking your uniform home.
Yeah, yeah. So, they're very into company image here and company values and all that kind of thing. So
some places don't let you drive to work because they're culpable if you do.
Yeah, I think the problem here is what's it called? It's a smallish place. Eating on the train, I don't think eating onigiri on the train is a particularly bad crime.
But it is unmannerly.
If somebody starts eating fucking fried chicken on an aeroplane on a domestic flight, I want to grab a pen and ram it into their fucking throat because I hate the smell.
A fried chicken?
Yeah, some stupid twat eating a bento on the front of a domestic flight. I'm going to murder the bastard if they
I'm
start
totally
eating
cool
it.
with everything like that. I just don't like crunchy stuff in plasticky containers that make the crinkle, crinkle, crinkle sound. That's awful.
If you're on an hour and 50-minute long flight and nobody else has got any food, fucking put up with it. That's my thing. And the other thing is, if anybody puts the chair back on me without asking first,
But that's normal.
no, that's death penalty.
Literally,
as far as I'm
it
concerned.
literally leans back 6 degrees.
Yeah, but I had my laptop once, like on the thing, and somebody put it back rapidly, and it kind of jammed forward onto me.
That would be a problem.
I did have to restrain myself so I didn't choke them to death, but I really hate like manners on airplanes. And the other thing that does my head in, so we've got a bit of a rant here. Like people are well noisy, man. Like they sneeze and cough and do that nose snort thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think after a certain amount of minutes, you forget that you're around other people that are really close to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just kind of like they always do that clearing the nose thing. It's horrible. Absolutely awful.
I put in noise canceling earbuds and I'm just like, I can't hear any of this. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Leave me alone while we share the space together.
Get into the isolation pod.
Yeah.
In there.
Yakuza boss struggles to upgrade phones from 3G. So after...
What?
So, okay. This is kind of a super Japanese problem and it's super cute. So when we made the jump back in the 15 years ago from the flip phone to the smartphone or whenever it happened, it went from 3G to 4G.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, there was a bunch of legislation that made it difficult. Like we were talking about before, like they didn't straight out outlaw the Yakuza. They outlawed a lot of things that the Yakuza like to do.
Yeah.
And made it difficult for them to do it. One of those things is that when you sign up for a cell phone, you have to sign your name that says that you're not a participant in organized crime.
Yep.
This also happens when you play golf and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that the Yakuza being the Yakuza, they would be like, fuck you guys, I'll sign whatever, give me my new iPhone. Mm-hmm. But the problem is because like overzealous Japanese police are looking for any excuse to arrest them.
Right.
Because they know who they are.
Yeah.
They're just looking for something to get them.
Yeah.
The Yakuza know that they can't, if they sign that and say that they're not a part of the Yakuza, that they'll get arrested for it.
I see. So they have to sign it.
So to get an upgrade of their phone.
Yeah.
So they're all stuck on like Gattaca 4G plans with their flip phones from the 90s.
Unfortunate. And not the best way to run a crime empire, I think. Which is probably why they're all disappearing. I think they're all doing remote work now.
They're all doing remote work.
The offices keep getting closed down. So I guess they've moved on to that.
The reason why they get closed down is because the Japan Diet passed a law, I think in 2009, that says that it's not illegal to extort money. Well, that was always illegal. Mm-hmm. It then became illegal to pay extortion money.
Yeah.
So all these companies that they were getting monthly payments, protection money from, it just dried up.
Right.
Because the companies are legitimate, so they don't want to do anything illegal. Okay. Japan ruling lawmaker quits party over allegations of drinking with teen. A House representative member for a ruling party faction led by Prime Minister blah 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 Kishida quit the party on Friday over a magazine report that he went out for drinks with an 18-year-old and gave her about $300. Ishii-san said, the Secretary General of Koei Meito, also called for an explanation from Yoshikawa. The guy that did this is Yoshikawa. If true, it's extremely regrettable. Again, with the regrettable word. What's your take on this? Because, I don't know, I've been drinking in Japan for 15 years now. And every now and then, everybody will just be drinking in a big group. And then you'll find somebody who's like 18 or 19 in the group of people.
Right.
And everybody just seems cool with it. I'm never cool with it, but everybody just seems it's cool.
I've never had that. I don't think. No. But, I mean, for me, drinking at the age of probably 7 is quite normal.
Because you're
being British. So, no, 14 or something like that. 13, 14. Kids start drinking in the park, right? But, yeah. I mean, 18's legal in Britain, so I don't really see the problem with that.
You guys drinking from 18?
Yeah. So most people start much younger than that as well. But obviously in Japan it's 20. Yeah. So you are breaking the law.
Yeah. Well,
they're breaking the law actually. You're not breaking the law by being with them.
So, since they don't card anybody in this country, I just always think like they don't care. But apparently, I think it's not that she was drinking. I think that it implies that there might be more to the relationship really.
Oh, there's probably that, yeah.
Right. And that's kind of probably the problem. Let's blast through the rest of these stories because we're going to go overtime here. We already overtime. Japan drug maker tests medicine vending machine in train station. Basically, move over ramen and crepe vending machines. They're going to put medicine in one in Tokyo and see how it works out.
What kind of medicine, though?
Not prescription, just like regular painkillers, eye drops, stuff like that.
Right, I see.
Cough, like lozenges.
Condoms. They don't have condom machines in the toilets.
Can't even find condoms half the time when you're looking for them in this country. They're just not anywhere. But the interesting thing about it is that the vending machine is only open, I think, from 8 o'clock to 6 p.m.
Right, okay.
Vending machine closes. Because of course it does.
Machines. Yeah.
Because of course it does. 3 Japan schools to introduce genderless swimsuits with unisex 2-piece design. Josh, can you throw this on the screen so we can show our incredibly progressive and woke Alex these photos and see what is... My take is I don't care.
I don't care, whatever.
It's like whatever.
Fine. I mean, they're still getting changed in the classroom together. No?
That's in elementary school.
Yeah.
This is, I think, for junior high school.
But even that's fucking weird.
But their explanation for this is kind of offensive to me. Amidst the growing understanding and interest in the LGBTQ issues in Japan, some schools have been adopting the new initiatives such as allowing students to freely choose their school uniforms. That's fine. But when they're like unisex swimsuits because of LGBTQ, I'm like, I don't think you guys get it. It's like,
well, I just pray to God that Japan doesn't become woke, because it will be the worst possible country to be in if that happens. Japan's good as it is. Just be misogynistic and whatever. Just keep it like that.
Dude, I don't see Japan as being necessarily 100% misogynistic. I think that both sides try to hold power over each other.
There's a lot more complexity to the power balance than people realize.
Like, dude, I've never seen a married couple where the woman didn't have more power than the man.
Yeah.
It's always that, like in the beginning, the girl's like, oh, you're so cute. I'm going to take care of you for your whole life.
And then it's like, I will control your finances.
And everything about your life. You will install this app on your phone. I will know where you are.
Here's 3,000 yen to spend.
Yeah, for the rest of this month. Don't go to pachinko.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like it's more complicated. We're just gonna rapid fire through here. Part Maid Cafe, part dentist office. Akiba Dental Clinic opens in Tokyo. This is in Akihabara. We've got photos of this. Basically, you go, you get your teeth cleaned, and the people helping you out are maids from a Maid Cafe, but with dental licenses.
Fine. Enjoy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
So the insurance in this country is a national one-payer system.
Mm-hmm.
But the great thing about it is that it's not like the Canadian system or whatever where they choose your doctor. You can choose your own doctor.
You can go wherever you like.
Wherever you like, to any doctor you want. Second opinions are okay. And that makes it so there's competition amongst those who want your patronage.
That's true.
And so you get shit like that.
But the downside is it leads to popularization of doctors, and people are terrible at making decisions about which medical professionals are best for them because they just go for the person they like, not the person that's best at the job.
Well, you recently had to go to a second opinion. Our doctor is great.
Oh, he is very good. Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do when he finally retires.
He actually said to me, in the event that my diagnosis is incorrect, come back in 3 days and I'll check you again. Which I've never heard any Japanese doctor say ever.
Because they always think that they're like God.
Yeah.
And everything they say is like, and then they give you a bunch of compo Chinese medicine that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Last story today. If you've ever been to Tokyo and you've been to the Lockup, which is a prison themed, I don't know if it's kind of prison cave themed izakaya in Tokyo. It is closing for good on the 31st of July.
What is it?
It's basically,
it's like you get locked up in a cell and
yeah, you go in your room is basically a cell. All the staff have like inmate costumes or like warden costumes.
Right.
And like your drinks come out in like little test tube vials and things like that.
Yeah.
And then every now and then they will like
right, okay.
shackles and stuff like that.
Do they abuse you?
Every now and then they'll turn off the lights in your room and then come in and fuck with you and abuse you.
Not fuck you.
Not fuck with you.
Right.
I would give that's the drinks. I would give the food there a 0 stars out of 10.
Have you been?
Yes, several times.
Several times. Why would you go to somewhere like
whenever you have a nomikai in Tokyo, they're like, let's go to the Lockup because
I've never
stupid.
been there.
And I mean, it was fun for let's see, how many years has this place been open? At least 15.
Mind you, I went to Robot Restaurant as well.
I never got a chance to go.
I was so dumb.
They give you a bento, right?
They do, but no, I didn't get it. You can choose to order it or not. I just chose to order extra drinks. I took in a bottle of drunk as well.
I heard that the show is actually not bad.
It's all right, yeah. It's
Really?
quite funny, yeah. It's just mad. Totally mental.
And I hear that it's really small. The venue's tiny.
It is tiny. It's tinier. And it's closed now, though. It's gone.
Yeah, they closed from COVID, which is really sad.
But I went to a ninja one in Kyoto as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was annoying.
Really?
They irritated me halfway through. I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Have you ever had dinner in a show in Japan and have it be good?
Nah, not really. It's either the food's good or it's like a weird concept place. The two never really meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of really good izakaya in Tokyo, so there's no point really going to somewhere like that, I don't think.
Tokyo's got it all. I mean, you can get like the bottom barrel scraping the gunk off the wood level stuff. And then you've got like top-notch stuff.
I've been to some really good private restaurants though that are not, they don't have a sign or anything like that.
Invite-only places.
Yeah. And those places are really cool. They're often in like a dilapidated looking building on like the 3rd floor.
Those are the best. It's got like some super like crazy heavy door that you go in and it's like paradise on the inside. You're like, what happened?
Yeah. And they're usually full. That's the other thing, right? So,
well, I'll be hanging out in Tokyo tomorrow, and then when I come back in a week, if all my PCR stuff happens normally, I hope it does.
If my back's better, I might go.
Come hang out with me in Shibuya, man. I'm gonna be there from next week, and just like I'll be hanging out with our buds in Tokyo.
Yeah,
getting completely sloshed.
Where we went? Where did we go last time we went there?
We went to Ginza.
To the Namahage.
Yeah, with the oni that comes out and then fucks with you until you give him alcohol, and then he sits down and drinks with you like a normal dude, which is just kind of weird.
That was weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
It's like, because he's just sitting there in his oni costume, and you're just like, well, what do we do now that you're here?
Yeah, and he's going, this job's okay.
Because at the beginning, he's like, you can't come in here. And then you give him a drink. He's like, yeah, it's all right.
He goes, yeah, just get dressed up like this and kind of run around a bit. And it's like, I'm not here to counsel you, fucker. I'm paying for this.
It's quite weird.
Mind you, we did go with Team America, who kind of got...
No, Team America was awful. No, Team entitled Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
They were all right at first until they got some drinks in them.
And then they got... Oh, it was just like, can you guys go home?
Yeah.
The one guy that was from a different country but worked in Silicon Valley, he was fine. We were cool with him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No. All right.
Guys, that's been our show. I'll see you guys when I get back. And I hope that you guys enjoy the special show that's going to happen next week, because you guys are totally doing a show next week, right?
Yes. I believe I am.
I think it's going to be like talk shit about Mitch while he's gone.
Let's do that. Maybe we can get you on a live stream from wherever you are.
If you call me up, I'll maybe, depending on how hungover I am.
We'll see. I'll get you to bet everything on red or black.
I've only gambled in the last 10 years. I've only done it once. It was like, I shouldn't say that, but it did win, and it was like a lot. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.